Okay, welcome to another episode of Eulogise Me with me, Roman Harris, and today my guest in the studio is, actually, this guy right here. I was thinking about this before you actually turned up, right? My first memory of Luke Chilton is you were emceeing a night at Vauxhall Comedy Club, and he introduced somebody to the stage, and they weren't there.
Oh, I remember this.
Right? They weren't there, and they weren't coming up on stage. And then I shouted from the back of the room, "I'll do it." And then Luke was like, "Okay," and then just introduced me to the stage, and I was not shit.
Yeah,
So-
I cannot explain to you how glad I am that you weren't shit.
But you took a chance,
I did. I could have lost my job.
right? But I always remembered that.
I couldn't even see you.
That's-
like,
no.
I was like, I couldn't even get a visual cue on whether this person looks like a crazy man or not.
And that's because I was deep dark in the back.
you
know?
were,
And I was
yeah.
probably wearing all black, and I'm black. Like effectively
What you're wearing now.
what I'm wearing right now. Yeah. But yeah, that was one of my first memories of you. But this is the one and only Luke Chilton, comedian, and also one of the most interesting, but also one of the most friendly people that I've met in comedy so far.
You can't get there through talent. You can get there through friendliness.
Well, everyone calls me friendly.
Yeah, they do. You are probably the friendliest man.
No, but just like hilarious, funny, just a genuine like force on stage. I think that's one of the ways I would describe you.
That's kind.
In many ways, like when you catch a vibe on stage, it is like a tornado.
Emphasis on when. Because when it's not appropriate, I bomb to fuck.
Yeah, but the same
Everyone
could be said.
goes very quiet and they're like, "Ooh."
But the same could be said for all of us. To be fair, like
No, but I feel there's something. You're a calm energy on stage, so bombing can sometimes feel like they're like it's chill. Whereas
alright,
I'm
got you.
manic on stage, so unless I'm emceeing, I'm a bit calmer. But like if I'm manic on stage and I'm dying, it adds an extra layer of I don't know, desperation and
it's
lack of awareness.
It's maybe like
discomfort. There's the word.
like an unhinged feeling where people don't know what can happen next. Like, is he gonna kill us? Kind of
or
vibe.
himself.
That's an option.
Yeah, it's deeply uncomfortable.
Well, from a comedic standpoint, I love seeing it.
Thank you. It's kind.
But yes, but nevertheless, that is the weirdest introduction that I'm probably ever going to give anyone because it wasn't very structured. But we talk so much that there's never going to be a structure to this.
Fuck
on our
structure,
pod.
bro.
It's not going to
Structure
happen.
is lies. We want to hear the real relationship.
Okay, and
Yeah.
here we go. That's the depth right there, man. So obviously, I reached out to you about this podcast, and when I said to you, the theme of it is that you write your own eulogy. What was the first thing that went through your head?
About goddamn time. I mean, I was just upset that I learned that I'm your second guest.
Oh, but you were the first person I asked.
I thought I was going to be the only person you asked.
Like it was just going to be a one-person podcast.
I thought so, yeah, and I'll come back on every week to read another eulogy.
Oh, man. Until we just get to the real depth of what you're feeling inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then imagine my upset when I discovered that the other guy was also called Luke. I'm sure you were like, oh, he's a force on stage.
You're putting me on blast now, man. You're gonna, if you haven't listened to
Absolutely.
episode 1 yet, go back and listen to it. Yeah, no.
Don't listen to this one, and then you'll never see anything like it again.
Oh, but the thing about starting a podcast or anything for that matter is there always has to be a first person.
Yeah,
And whoever's not the first person is always gonna feel a little bit like, why wasn't I the first person?
yes, I think particularly second person, because who the fuck are you in the running order? You're not even like I don't know. You're not even like the first one is always gonna touch people's heart because that's like the underdog. The second person is just filler
Is that
until the show finds its feet.
is that Well, maybe this is the moment.
Well,
that
yeah,
the
but that's
show
a lot of
finds
pressure on me. And let's be honest, it won't be this episode.
Well, you know what? With that being said, let's actually let me get a bit closer to the crux of this episode with your eulogy, because so I reached out. We had a few conversations about this, the eulogy, and you were torn between writing one that was serious or writing one that wasn't.
Yes.
What did you go for?
I went for serious. And
Okay.
then you told me it was silly.
What, as in, hold on, the one that you sent to me?
Yes.
The one that you sent to me that you're going to read on this podcast.
Deeply serious, baby.
This is deeply serious.
That's how I want people to remember me.
Okay. All right. You know what?
And anything that fails to meet that expectation, I'll be furious.
Well,
and I'll haunt those motherfuckers.
What I'll say then is to the listeners of this podcast, when you listen to this eulogy,
yeah,
you may understand why I can be forgiven for thinking it was silly.
That's so rude. So deeply rude.
But nevertheless,
we're talking about my death, Roman.
Now I'm
talking about the summary of my life.
Oh man! Now
and you're choosing the word silly.
All right, we need to have this.
The silly little life he led.
No, it was an amazing life. To be fair, it was one of the most. It was one of the most spectacular lives, and we have to hear it. We have to hear it now. Like,
you want me to? I have to read my own.
Yeah, you have to read your own eulogy. You got put your heart into it, and this is Luke Chilton's eulogy.
All right, but this is read as if someone else is reading it.
Someone else is reading it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We're gathered here today to mourn the loss of a truly stunning man, Luke Chilton. A man.
Can I just stop you? At this stage, it feels really bad that I said it was silly.
Yes.
Like.
Well, you chose the bed. You made your bed. You can lie in it.
Okay.
So you sit there while we mourn the death of me. A man we know well to be of unique, raw, and omnipotent sexual magnetism, incomparable achievement, paradigm of dignity, strength, and humbleness. See, I sound great.
I think I love the gravitas that you're giving this.
Thank you.
The voice also. The voice
silly,
is
bro.
stunning. Keep going.
What the fuck's wrong with my voice?
I love it. I thought the voice is stunning.
I thought this was good. I feel insecure, you know.
Do you?
Yes.
Keep rolling.
All right. It was fitting for me to die in one-on-one combat with a disgruntled and furious grizzly bear. The contest ultimately ruled a draw when they died in each other's embrace. We began as enemies, yet the respect we awarded each other through the deadly dance of mortal combat meant we departed this world as brothers. Luke gave his life in order to protect a group of big-tittied bikini babes who had visited the mountainside for a holiday and unthinkingly lathered each other's breasts in honey, thus attracting the wrath of the bear. They each confessed to having sex with Luke before he fought the bear. They said it was the best and most memorable time of their lives. A victory for Luke would have been a certainty had he not refused to use his right hand in order to make the battle fair for the creature. For that was Luke, me, I, Luke, a man of ancient honor, a magnanimous man who turned evil to good, hate to love, and water to moist pussy lube.
Oh, pussy lube. Yes.
Looking out, I see many men with wives. Luke fucked all of those wives. Were we angered? Nay. Nay, for we rejoiced, how lucky our wives, how happy they returned to us, and how we thanked Luke for improving our marriages from there on in. For this was the giving, community-focused generosity that Luke made. At the age of 165, still blessed with abs of steel and slung like a prize horse, I look out, I see his 40 wives and 300 children in deep sorrow, for today we truly mourn the best person who may have ever lived. Rest now, eternal Luke Chilton, in the warm breasts of the gods. You had the greatest penis we ever knew and ever will. Amen.
Amen indeed.
Yeah, baby.
Okay, now, all right, I have questions.
Is it about the inconsistent use of tenses?
No.
I didn't think I would be reading it.
I think there was a lot to distract me and everybody else from the inconsistent use of tenses.
Well, that's a relief.
Don't worry about that. But I'm so glad you read it, because I don't believe that anyone could have done it justice the way that you did.
Well, that is true.
Okay, how long did that take you to write?
Like 15 seconds.
You have the quickest fingers of anybody I've ever known.
Goddamn right I do, Roman.
That's what I've heard.
I think it took me, in all honesty, it probably took me about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Is that right?
Well, I mean, there's no...
It was one session.
Yeah, there's no right and wrong. I'm just, I'm curious.
10 to 30 minutes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe an hour.
The inconsistencies here continue beyond the tenses.
I don't want to say I don't know. I don't want you to think I'm a dumb person.
No. That just means you can't keep time. You know, that's all. I'm going to look at some of this. All right. So I'm a paradigm of dignity, strength, and humbleness.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Are these words that you feel like you would actually class yourself as, or are they words that you would like to be remembered as? Like, do you see yourself as those things?
Say them again.
A paradigm of dignity, strength, and humbleness.
Oh, not strength. I'm a coward, but everything else.
But you'd like to be remembered as a man of strength.
Oh yeah.
No, but I'm curious. Why do you class yourself as a coward? Like, why would you?
I know I'm a coward.
No, but why?
I can give you an example.
Well, I mean, that would help.
Okay. I went on a holiday once to Wales with some friends.
Yeah.
And we went for a walk, and we were confronted by a wild horse.
Okay.
A wild horse.
Yeah.
It's not some pussy farm horse.
No,
this is a wild roaming horse. And we didn't know, and it stopped, and we were in a standoff with the horse, and we didn't know whether you're supposed to get really big and be like, rah, or get out of its way and like cower and make yourself small. I convinced everyone. I said I'd watch the documentary. We have to, on the count of 5, be like, rah, and scare the horse. So they were like, all right, if you're sure. And then we did a countdown, like 3, 2, 1, and everyone went like, rah, and I jumped in the bush behind everyone.
But
and they don't even know today that I did that. They thought I was behind them, like, rah.
Okay, so
I let my 3 of my best friends to die. And that's how I know I'm a coward. And I convinced them to make a human shield for me. I don't think that was my intention in the moment, but when I saw that opportunity, I took it.
Okay, so definitely based on the story and the evidence, that would suggest a bit of cowardice.
Yes.
But does that permeate through other areas of your life? I mean, that's one story.
That is one story.
In a whole amazing life that you've led.
Yes.
Like, you know, that's one story.
This is true. And also, you could look at it in a more charitable light, whereas if you're in an army unit, you don't put the general on the front line.
No.
You don't put your most valued soldier to take the bullets.
Which you would class yourself as.
Yes. I think so, yes. You would gladly give your life for the captain or the general. So when you look at it in that light, I behaved impeccably.
I see. So
I led my men and some women appropriately.
Oh, wait, there were women in this group?
Yes.
Wow. Oh, okay. All right. The coward element, I'm okay.
Yeah, but look, only one of them was pregnant.
No. All right. You said it was fitting for him to die one-on-one combat with a disgruntled and furious grizzly bear. Would you actually, would you like to die in combat or in some sort of like
it's pretty,
blaze of glory?
Oh, it's a pretty sexy way to die. I think so. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know if that's a fantasy of every young man.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know if anyone really does ever fantasize how they die. Like,
Do you
some
not?
people do, but
I do.
I can't say I ever have. Like,
I want to die well.
what's? I mean, I guess this is a depiction.
I don't want to be like really sick for ages and then just sort of like. I don't want to feel like I'm a burden on my family.
Yeah.
If I have a family or anyone around me. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather just die I'd like there to be chatter at my funeral.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, ideally I'd like to die in an amusing way.
Okay. What do you class as an amusing way?
Like being crushed by a piano. You know? Like sort of like a Charlie Chaplin movie or something. And then everyone's like, that's a pretty fitting way for a comedian to die.
Yeah. I mean, that would be going out on a bit of a dark chord.
Yeah, or like an anvil fell on me and they're like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Like Tom and Jerry.
So,
or Wile E. Coyote.
So the more humorous the death, the better for you.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
I just think that makes the funeral more interesting. I like a funeral. The funerals are great.
So you frequent a funeral?
I've been to a fair few funerals, yeah. I enjoy them.
What do you like about them?
It's entirely focused on one person, where a marriage is not, and a birthday feels indulgent a lot of the time.
Okay.
Whereas like a funeral is the complete summary of someone's life.
Yeah.
And people actually do speeches where they think about what someone means to them. That's very special.
Now, I'd agree with you to the point. Like, it is quite a special thing. The funerals I've been to, you know, I think that they're very poignant also. Like you sit there and you kind of think about that person's life, but you also kind of reflect on your own life in the process.
Very self-centered of you.
Oh, I mean, I get very self-centered at a funeral. Like, I come away thinking I need to do something with myself. You know what I mean? It's genuinely all about me. I mean, I go to them for inspiration, if I'm being honest.
Or just random ones.
I'll just rock up at one at any point and just be like,
funeral crasher.
Like, who is this guy? But like, I just needed some inspiration.
Well, I need to be not that guy. Look at these losers in his life. No one has got anything interesting to say about this guy.
You just go up there and tell random stories that never happened.
Yeah, that's just stand-up.
Nah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is exactly what I do for a living. I say for a living very loosely. I mean, I get, let's not talk about it. Okay, so you actually do enjoy a funeral.
Well, enjoy is I like it. There's a full spectrum of emotions there. I mean, it depends on the circumstances. I've been to some really sad funerals.
Yeah.
But even then, I think there's like a real there's something very human about it. And also, like, as a culture, we don't talk about death ever, which is a big mistake. Other cultures do talk about death.
Yeah. Why do you think as a culture we don't? We kind of shirk the idea of talking about it. Why do you think that is?
I'm not 100% sure. It might be because I suppose death is less common now compared to, let's say, pre-industrial era. Because then it was like kids just died all the time.
Yeah,
right?
It was just common.
Like, yeah, most pregnancies would be death. So you have to have a good narrative to explain away that, or at least allow people to accept it.
Yeah.
Whereas now, most kids survive.
Right. Or we work to keep them alive.
Yeah.
Even if it's not looking great.
Yeah, well, it's still like the likelihood is your kid will be fine.
Yeah.
Unless you have like an early miscarriage or something like that. If you get to past the, what's that, 3-month period, you're likely
gonna go full.
Yeah, if it's not going well, it's like you're unlucky. But it's statistically you're in the minority there. Most people's kids sort of make it through.
Yeah.
Whereas it used to be completely the opposite way around, and most kids just died, and that was pre-5 years old. So death was all around us, and death was happening to children as well, which is like particularly upsetting.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to arm your population with a narrative that enables them to be like to move on or like keep going or maintain some sort of positivity. And once that goes, there's less pressure, I think.
Yeah. I guess that is a fair point. Like, it's not necessarily in our faces the way it probably was back then, and therefore our relationship to it, I think we've become a little bit more emotional surrounding it also. You know, I think that's definitely been part of it.
Well, it's silly as well because it's also going to happen to everyone. So it's like, it's a real I think it's silly to not have you should have a good discussion about that, because you will have to face it, and we fear it, which doesn't help. When you're a mourning family, you leave them out to dry because they have no idea how to talk about it.
Yeah.
And people are not willing to engage in that conversation. When I talk to people like, well, this might apply to you, I don't know, because you're in services where I imagine you end up seeing pretty tough stuff.
Yeah.
But whenever I've spoken to soldiers or friends who are doctors, there's a real tricky point about them talking about the dead people they've seen.
Got you.
And I'm like, that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
You should be able to talk about that. And because it is a normal part of life. You know, like life necessitates that you're going to die. So it's, and like opening that conversation up, I think also helps with grief and preps people for it and normalizes it. So, you know, because there's nothing worse when someone like dies and then everyone around them is awkward and weird about it. And you're like, dude, this person needs support, and you're like being uncomfortable, and then you're putting it on them to be polite about it and sort of respectfully shut the fuck up about it, which is so perverse to me.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed within myself is that sometimes I struggle to say the word died or dead. Like I'll use other terminology where I'll be like, they passed away or whatever.
I don't like that.
Right. And I can feel myself doing it. And I get frustrated with myself and be like, just say what it is. Yeah. But it feels like it softens the blow of what has actually happened.
Of loss, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know whether it really does or not, you know, like who that's for really. Am I doing it for myself or am I doing it for the other person?
I suppose, I don't know, because I suppose when I was in secondary school, there was a lot of suicides within my friendship group and sort of their loved ones and that sort of thing. So I don't know if that was maybe a sort of we engaged with it a little bit more as a friendship group maybe, or and like even before then I remember seeing a few people die of like illness and stuff like that, and quite young people as well. So I don't know if I had a bit more of a experience with death or something younger, so it was like I was like, oh well, it's normal, do you know what I mean? So I talked about it a little bit more. But then I'm like, that's from the perspective of someone in the West. Like you talk to someone in like a country that's not as developed, and it is so harsh by comparison. But they're not
Massively.
like falling apart. Do you know what I mean? These people getting on with their lives.
Yes,
and incredibly resilient. And you're like, well, there's no reason why we can't be that resilient too.
Well, you know, it does come down to emotionalism a lot, I think, because I lived in Guyana, which, you know, was, and I think to some degree is still classed as a developing nation. But the way that people would talk about death in Guyana, it was just so matter of fact and so brutal, where it would be like, oh, you know, Charlie, he dead. Right?
Yeah.
but I know I'm laughing, but it really,
it's because you did the voice.
That's true. If I had just gone, hey, you know, Charlie, he dead.
Yeah.
I mean, even that's still a little bit funny, but yeah, it would be like that. And then it would just be like, oh gosh, well, and then they would really be descriptive about what happened to Charlie. Yeah. So they would just talk about it really like with detail. Yeah. Whereas like here, if someone dies in a tragic way, I mean, we'll butter it up a little bit.
But people don't even know what like happens when someone dies. Do you know what I mean? Like people aren't even aware of like the process of like a dead body looks dead. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, which I don't know how you explain until someone's seen a dead body, and then you're like, well, look, their color is weird. Like that is not a human color. Like they change race to dead race. Do you know what I mean?
You do. I mean, you like and you don't until you see it. You don't get it. You know, and like. Having seen it a few times in different ways, like from peaceful to like going out in a way like you've described, like just like boom, like just.
Well, I imagine you've seen a few traumatic ones.
Yeah, I mean, I've
because like, you would be in perhaps the most extreme as a firefighter, right? Yeah,
so like having worked in the fire service, it's like I've seen, you know, from burns victims to like, you know, people under trains.
Yeah.
And so you see like the whole gamut. And then there's people who pass away.
Trains. This you might edit this out, but I don't know. Who's if someone goes under a train, who's responsible for cleanup?
So like I think if I'm not mistaken, I feel like TfL have like a crew.
The cleanup crew.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's what they. Yeah.
Because I'm like, whoever. Because I didn't even think until. So I knew someone who jumped under a train, and I didn't even think.
Oh shit! Sorry, man.
They weren't super close to me, but it's
it's fine then.
yeah.
Fuck 'em.
I just knew someone. But it was I was suddenly like, oh yeah, someone has to like clean them up, and I'm like, the driver's also probably seen everything, and then someone has to actually go through the details of collecting up all their possessions and stuff.
So like because like the emergency services will like they'll get under there and remove the person.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that there is like a emergency response team for the London Underground also.
Yeah.
Who will go and like clear the tracks and then make sure everything's okay before trains start running again and gather up whatever needs gathering.
That's just like a PTSD job.
I mean, I imagine that a lot of people would suffer from, or you could end up suffering from that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's never a pleasurable thing to kind of see and bear witness to. And I think sometimes you compartmentalize it. So you see it, but you don't really process it. You just put it in a certain section of your brain and then you carry on with life. But it brings it to the forefront, man. And it definitely makes you realize that, it makes you realize how fragile we actually are. Like we're literally just like skin and like liquid.
Yeah.
You know, with a little bit of structure in there, but we're not. We're just
yeah.
You know, like that's it, man.
Because I think that's a scary reality check to come in. To also believe that, because I've not seen someone die in the moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that I imagine is a weird moment to experience.
Like,
because you're suddenly like, oh, like, because in my head I understand it rationally.
Yeah.
I don't know what that. I still actually don't believe. Like, I don't believe I'm gonna die.
Well, that's the thing. I think,
but I know I am.
Like
I'm like in my head. I'm like,
not me,
not me. Or I'll like go to sleep one day. Like,
it will be peaceful.
I'm like, the idea that I could die just seems impossible in my head.
It's one of those things where I feel like you don't walk around with it at the forefront of your mind all day long, because if you did, then you really wouldn't get anything done. You would then look at nearly everything and you'd be like, well, what's the point? Right? Like, what's the point even in this podcast? Like, why am I even going to sit down and edit all of this? You know what I mean? And put it out and put clips together. It's like, what's the point? I might as well just sit here and just do nothing. But as human beings, I think it's just one of those things where it's in your brain. You know, at some point it can happen at any time. But at the same time, there's enough distraction in the world and other things for you to try and do with life. So you just keep going. You know, you keep going and you don't think about it so much until you come onto a podcast with me.
Yeah.
So to all the listeners, I hope you're having a great time.
You're going to die. Just remember that.
Now, I'm going to come back to this, right? Your eulogy. Because you said that you died trying to protect some big-titty bikini babes.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So I'm going to deconstruct that and ask you, even though you've classed yourself as a coward, is there a part of you that actually wants to be a protector or is a protector? Because, I mean, looking at this, you were protecting the babes.
Yeah, I'll protect the babes.
Yeah, so tell me more about that.
Well, like, might get laid.
Oh, so you're only protecting people with the intention of getting something from them. Is that
very transactionally rewarded?
is that what we're getting to the bottom of here, Luke?
No, I would love to be heroic, but it's probably a means to an end. I'm quite a horny person. I like to get laid. It makes me feel good.
Well,
but I'm not.
Today's your lucky day because come on out.
But I don't think I'm good at. Number one, I'm not good at flirting with people.
Got you.
I'm not like direct or seductive. Do you know what I mean? Like some people will go into a bar and be like, that that person's nice, and then they'll go up and chat to them and leave with them. And I'm like, what did you even say? Whereas I'm like, I would like to do that, but I don't know how to do it.
So why? Okay, I'm always curious as to why people think they either are a certain way or aren't a certain way. So like, why do you think that is? Like, if you had to put a label on it or explain it, why do you think that you don't have that gene?
Oh, I believe I have it in me, but
Okay,
I have a lot of fear as well.
Okay, what fear of what?
Rejection.
Yeah, but
and humiliation.
But that's just being a dude.
Yeah. But it still hurts.
But once you just accept...
it still hurts.
Yeah, it does. But once you accept that is just like 50% of being a guy.
Yeah.
Then you could soar.
Yeah, this is true. But it was the same with death. It's like I rationally know that, but it doesn't mean I accept it or...
I can understand that. I mean... Look,
comfortable in confronting it. Also, there is a part of me nowadays where I'm also like the Me Too movement.
Okay, yeah,
made approaching women somewhat terrifying.
I will. I think I've actually asked women this before.
Yeah.
In the sense of like, do you feel it? Do you feel the change like
the
in society where men are like they either don't approach or they're a little bit more hesitant to approach, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And like I've had feedback, from different women that I've spoken to, and even my girlfriend. I mean, to be fair, I'm hoping that there's not too many like. No, I want men to be approaching her, but then at the same time, I don't. It's weird. It's like I want them to be approach, bro. But at the same time,
you want them to approach and fail.
Yeah. Because if they're succeeding,
they're succeeding. It's
scary times.
Putting your work in properly.
And I puts my work in, But no, like, there's that feeling. I think there has been a shift in that case. But if you're approaching with good intentions and like
you're never approaching with good intentions.
No, the intentions are still good.
The whole thing when women are like men are creepy. I'm like, well, of course they're creepy. They're trying to have sex with you. That is the motive of approaching. If any man of like appropriate age is approaching you in a social environment with no, there's no common interest. They've seen you. They want to fuck you, of course.
Yeah, I mean...
And that's hugely naive to think it's anything else.
It
might become something else. Like, I don't think it's like, you chat to anyone and like, you interest might change or you'd be like, oh, we're not sexually compatible, but you are interesting. I'd love you to be my friend. But that initial approach... Are you kidding me that that's not a sexual advance?
It's almost like it starts at sexual advance.
Yeah.
And then it goes backwards to whatever else it's going to end up being. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And most of the time the women are in control of that.
Yeah, I'd say that's... I mean, and you'd hope that that's the case, because if they weren't, then that's a scary prospect.
Crime,
But I think you have a valid point there, and I think that if anyone was being honest with themselves, like, as a man approaches a woman, like, generally, unless it's like, honestly, because she's dropped something, or probably even if she has dropped something, it's probably part of the reason.
Drop that big juicy butt. I don't know. See, that's the sort of thing I say. It's not.
Oh, is that part of the pickup?
Look at that big juicy butt. No, I don't. I don't know. Most of the people I have sex with, I think I don't know. It's normally like it's normally like my friends, to be honest.
Yeah. So like you
historically, less so now. I do go on dates and stuff. I mean, I don't really date at the moment, but also haven't had sex like fucking ever. But
wait, hold on a second. Why are you not? What do you mean you don't date at the moment? Why not?
I just got so tired of the dating apps. Really long, and also like meeting people that I'm like, it just feels like you're going through the motions, and like you do the full thing, like you do dinner, you do drinks, whatever, you go back together, you even have sex, and then but it just feels like lifeless. I'm like, there's no like, like when I was younger, you'd meet people and you'd like fancy them for ages,
right?
And they were just people who'd happen to be in your life.
Yeah, there was more like of a backstory and a build up and etc.
Yeah, and there was none of that. Like dating, such an intense premise. Do you know what I mean? Because you're going there and being like, we are sniffing each other out to see if you're the love of my life.
Yeah,
that is the subtext.
Well,
and I'm like, that's too much pressure. That's a ridiculous way to go about it.
I think you're putting too much pressure on yourself.
Yeah, but that is the subtext. You tell me that's not the subtext.
Yeah, but you don't have to go in with all of that weight on you. You
no,
could just
no,
go
you
in
don't.
with...
But it's there.
I mean...
Why else are you going on a date?
All right, so I think if you're going on a date, you're going on a date to feed different elements of you as a human being, right? So I think if you're going on a date, it's partly because you know deep down you want companionship. Like, you don't want to be alone, right? So that's part of it.
Yeah.
You want to have sex.
Yeah.
That's a part of it. The love of your life thing, I mean, I don't know. Like, you know, some people are searching for that or believe in that. Yeah. And other people just want to find someone they can get along with, right? Yeah. Like, so I think there's different facets to dating. But when you go on that date, all of those things, I'd say the best thing to do is put all of that out of your mind.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
Don't go in with any of that at the forefront.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that that's not the objective.
Oh, it's in there.
That's the long-term objective. Not that it has to be this person. But you would like to find that person. That is why you're going on the date, in the hope that maybe you find that companion. It doesn't have to be the love of your life, but like you want a long-term companionship.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, like,
so mental. I'm not doing it anymore.
Well, you know what? The best thing you're doing at the moment is you're letting it come to you.
Yes.
Because I think that is one of the healthiest ways to go about it.
You reckon? I am backed up.
Well, do something about it.
No,
God gave you hands. God gave you hands.
Have you not been listening? Yeah, but that's not the same, is it?
No, it's not the same, but it's a good pastime.
It doesn't build your self-esteem in the same way as someone being
You're not doing it right.
What? Oh, no.
If it's not building your self-esteem,
how do you build your self-esteem through that?
I'll show you, son.
Me. Roman.
Oh, bless, man. All right. So, moving on to the next section of your eulogy, right? I not refused to use. Okay, all right. All right. So you fought this bear off.
Yes.
In fact, no, you didn't. You didn't actually. You died in each other's arms.
Yeah.
Apparently, according to your eulogy.
Yeah.
You killed each other and died in each other's arms. And then looking out, right, you saw many men with wives, and all wives that you slept with. Tell me, Luke, is this? You know, is this something that you would see yourself doing? Just
cucking people. I've done it.
Oh, here we go. Now we're getting
not intentionally. I've done it once intentionally.
Yeah.
I've always felt terribly guilty, but a lot of people I've ended up being with have turned out to be in relationships I didn't know about.
Oh, got ya.
Which is some bullshit.
I mean, that's a sign of like a lack of honesty with you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, you know.
And also now I'm a bad person, or I've participated in a. You can say morally I'm not responsible, right?
Oh,
but I
100%
still am
not
an
responsible.
Instrument in deceit.
Wow, you know what? That's deep. An instrument in deceit.
Yeah.
When those situations have happened, has it really like weighed on you for a while, or is it just like
what? Because no, I don't know the people, so. It's fine. If I knew the person, I'd be like, oh, jeez.
Got you.
That's a real person. If they're like a vague... I mean, look, it's not my responsibility to make someone be faithful, so there is that. And I think if someone's doing that with me, if it wasn't me, they'd be doing it with someone else because they're unhappy in their relationship or whatever. I have had one person who was like seemed like they're in some sort of polyamorous thing, and they were upfront with me, and I was like, I don't want to get involved in this.
Got you. Do you think that would just be too messy?
Yeah. And also, she was just nuts. So.
All right, well, I mean, like, that's fair enough.
I was scared.
That's fair enough.
I also didn't find her that attractive. Do I come off badly in this podcast? I don't know. I'm trying to be honest. I'm trying to be more honest in my life. And I don't know, because people say that, but then I think sometimes when you come out with honesty, people are like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I love the fact that you said, I'm trying to be more honest in my life, right? Yeah. And then you've written this eulogy.
I think it's the most honest thing I've ever written. I don't know what you're talking about. That is how I would like my eulogy to go.
Oh, bless you.
I mean, because there is a desire to have sex with everyone, or lots of hot women.
Yes.
And I would like to be able to live in a world where even my romantic rivals were like, well, he's so great in bed that I just, I can't compete. He's on a different level.
What a world that would be.
Yeah, but I would want those guys to like me. I want bros,
You know what? I'm starting to wonder what your ideal world would look like. And if you had the power to create it, like how many people would actually be like, yeah, you know what? I want a piece of that. Because you probably find quite a lot would.
Yeah? Am I hot shit on the circuit? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I don't know that much. You know what I mean? And which circuit we talking?
I don't know, just life. Anyway,
the
I'll
life
take
circuit.
anything. I'm not fussy.
But bearing in mind, in this, you say you want to live to, you died at 165.
I either want to die very old or very young.
I mean, that's two extremes.
Yeah.
So why so? I mean, why very
old
or very young?
If you die young, your funeral's going to pop. Everyone's going to be sad. People are going to be writing speeches. If you're like the first to die in your friendship group, oh my God, people will think you're the best. And your memory will be like, even if you're kind of a shitbag, I think everyone will be like, yeah, but he's dead. Like, he's amazing. They get these
can't talk bad about him now.
No, exactly. And I think then they'll convince themselves you were much, much better than you were.
Yeah.
Whereas if you die, there is always going to be someone who is the last to die in your friendship group, which it is going to be sad, because you'll be the guy who's found by not even necessarily a family member,
right? And
they're like, who is this guy? That happens to someone in every generation.
But if you die really old, are you saying that you want to be that guy?
Well, if I die really, really old, my hope is that I've got grandkids and great grandkids and all that stuff. So then the family is like this legendary relic.
So
they're around me to remember me.
Does that mean that you actually want to have kids then? Like, is that something that you'd want to do?
I think one day.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of being a parent, though.
What scares you the most about it?
Being a parent.
Yeah.
Is a lot of responsibility. I'm selfish.
Do you think that
I can be selfish.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's a human trait.
Yeah.
Like, I think we can all.
Yeah, I don't think I'm spectacularly selfish, but that is what the fear is.
So the desire to have kids would have to trump that feeling of having just time for self or being,
I mean, I think I'll probably have kids accidentally.
Then
I'll be forced into it, and then I'll be like, which is probably the best for me, because then I can't overthink it.
I have thought this same thought. Yeah, like if it happened accidentally, it might be the best way for it to happen.
Yeah,
because I can't see myself consciously like making the decision.
I think that's how it's supposed to happen. That's what you're geared for. That's why sex feels good. It's a trick. It's not a. Is this your?
No, is this scientifically proven, or is this your theory? Is this your theory?
Well, don't put my theory. Let me explain it, and then you'll be like, "Wow, that is flawless logic." Of course, it's a trick. That's the whole point.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
Right. So nature has lots of different ways of getting animals to reproduce, right? But it's a trade-off. It's not, especially for a man, it's not beneficial in terms of resource and stuff, because you have to look after a kid. It's long. For a woman, it's even more resource, right? So there's got to be something that tricks you into doing something you don't want to do.
Got it.
It's like eating your vegetables. They taste nasty, so I got to give you, I don't know. They should taste good, actually.
I love vegetables.
Wait, let me start again. All right. Edit this all out.
I might edit it.
Edit this all out. I don't want people to think I'm a damn fool on this podcast.
I so don't edit this podcast, mate.
Well, that is really bad news for me.
Go on.
No, so you need kids along. You're probably not going to do it if it's laid out for you rationally. Right? So then sex feels nice. And then in your brain, you're never thinking, oh, yeah, babies. You're thinking, I'm fucking, this feels great.
Yeah.
Woo! And then the baby comes later. So it's a trick. It's like, just come on, do this. Nothing bad's going to happen. And then actually it's the most, because sex feels like a responsibility-free, like, instinct, right?
Yeah.
I feel like a different person when I'm horny, and then I come and I'm like, I'm back to myself again. I don't even know who that guy was like 2 seconds ago. That was someone else.
Yeah.
That is the trick.
The post-nut clarity.
You've been hypnotized by the titties or whatever, and now you've come to rational, but it's too late.
Yeah.
She's full of cum, and the baby is coming now. So it's a trick. That's how nature does it. It tempts you with pleasure. Whereas animals have a variety of, some do it by force, some do it by pleasure, some do it by spawning or just replicating and it's out of their hands. But ours is that method. It's a trick.
I can see the logic.
Yeah.
I can see the logic.
Why would you think sex leads to extreme amounts of responsibility? No one would think that, right? Everyone would be like, sex, that's a fun thing to do.
I think also because I've grown up, like when you growing up in this era where there's like so much contraception.
Yeah.
It's like sex equals fun.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the appeal and the selling point in many ways. It's kind of like sex equals fun. We know that having sex causes reproduction, right? But in my mind, my first association with it is it's fun.
Yeah.
And then secondary, it's like, oh yeah, but you could get a baby.
Yeah, I forget.
And then obviously there's STIs you got to be careful of, but like that's another conversation.
Solvable, yeah. A baby
no.
is solvable too, but it's a lot more emotionally turbulent than...
Oh no, man.
Unless you're really attached to your chlamydia.
There's a lot of emotional turbulence in STIs.
That's been with me a while. I don't want to get rid of that.
I want to nurture it and help it grow.
That's a healthy infection right there.
But yeah, man. Okay, so all right, last paragraph, right? It says, "Rest now, eternal Luke Chilton, in the warm breasts of the gods. You had the greatest penis we ever knew and ever will."
Yes.
The resting part. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that you go somewhere that there is like a bosom of the gods that you rest in?
You'd
like,
hope so. I have faith that there is.
There's the hope. There's definitely the hope.
Yeah. I think you can argue from a scientific point there is something, even if you don't go somewhere physically. You know all that DMT stuff? You ever heard of that? So you release that when you die, and that's like a really extreme hallucinogenic.
Just in case people don't know what DMT is, what's your understanding of it?
Just go watch Joe Rogan. I don't know. No, DMT is like is a really intense hallucinogenic that is produced naturally in your body constantly, apparently, and then when you die, you release some. But when it's naturally produced in your body, you don't experience hallucinogenic effects because you have enzymes that mop it up or something.
Got you.
When you die, those enzymes die before the DMT, so you experience the hallucinatory effects when you die.
Got you. So it's like the last phase, or it's something you experience just before you die. Basically.
I mean, I've heard this. People talk about this. I'm not an expert.
Oh yeah, no, we are far from experts, Luke. I mean, if anyone is watching this thinking, "Oh, these two guys are experts," you're watching the wrong podcast. But
so apparently that happens, and DMT is like, from what I've read of and from people I've spoken to taken it, they mostly describe a kind of heaven or hell type hallucinogenic experience. So it's like a lot of them will either describe you met aliens or you went down a tunnel of light and met God, or like it's quite uniform experience. Or they're like, it was the most terrifying thing. I saw people decaying, people burning. Is hell, right?
Yeah.
So people describe these heaven and hell type feelings, and I'm like, well, maybe everyone's just tripping balls before they die, and that's where heaven and hell literature comes from. And because you've had some people nearly went there, and then they talk about that, and that would make sense, because it's also like most religions have a sort of heaven and hell thing, or like karma system, which is a similar sort of, if you're not good or you don't love yourself, whatever, you go to a bad place.
What would heaven look like to you?
Loads of big-breasted women.
Yeah.
Cuddling me to their bosom. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Oh, that's sweet, man.
Lots of MILFs. I'm into
that's
MILFs.
Sweet.
Big bad MILFs, yeah.
Well, you know what? I mean, like, if anyone's watching...
Not sweet. I want to fuck them.
I thought you just wanted to be held.
No. Well, I want that too, but I don't know. Yeah.
But afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, well, listen. I've got to the end of your eulogy, but we haven't got to the end of the podcast, because... before the end of the pod, there's something that I ask every guest.
You're not going to kill me, are you?
Yes, right here. I'm going to sacrifice
good
you
finale.
on camera. You know what I mean? Nah, I got to
What a
hide the
great modern day serial
evidence.
killer that would be.
What
The podcast
what-
serial killer.
You
Got
know,
his victims to read out their own eulogy before murdering them.
wow, you've really given me some ideas now.
Oh, uh-oh.
Well, no, you know what? The scariest thing is you've probably given someone out there some
Yeah.
ideas.
Okay. Well, I want credit for that if that goes viral. I
I don't think you want credit for that.
Well, I do. I want some sort of financial compensation for the Netflix documentary
bless.
that comes out.
You joke.
A little bit of you would feel, it's like I inspired someone to do what?
No,
I'm pretty powerful.
Listen, I would hide and I would never tell a soul that came from my mouth. Like, I don't want that associated with me, man. But no, the question is, okay, so it's you're 165. It's the end.
Yes.
It's the end of your life,
Yeah.
right? However, through some amazing portal, there's a way for you to travel back to this very moment, right?
With me and you.
This very moment where you are in life right now, right here.
Yes.
And you could give yourself one piece of advice to carry forward with you,
Yeah.
right? What would you tell yourself?
Do you want me to give advice from my hypothetical future self to my current self now?
Yep.
How am I supposed to know?
There's no
That's
way.
a mental question, Roman.
It's a mental podcast.
But that's just I have to give myself advice now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just chill out, man.
Cool.
We'll be fine. You're going to be 165. You got lots of time to work shit out. Not even nearly middle-aged.
I love it.
I'm middle-aged at 60.
If you die at
No,
165.
80. I'm
Yeah.
middle-aged. That's always...
82
I
and a
told
half.
someone they looked middle-aged the other day and they got upset. And I thought that was quite a nice thing to say because they were in their 50s. And I was like, bro, that's optimistic because likelihood is you were middle-aged 10 years ago.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, but they didn't like me saying that at all.
Well, I mean, you got to work on your compliments.
I was just saying facts. This is me trying to be more honest.
You know what?
People need to be some fucking pussy.
There's a question I might re-edit this in, but here we go.
Oh, so you do edit this podcast? Nice.
Nah, not really. Fuck it. Like this is all staying in. I can't be asked to edit. You said you're trying to be more honest.
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. It just feels more interesting.
But is that so? If you is that the main reason? Just because it feels more interesting?
I think so. Well, I think it's like you learn more. You get to be more. You potentially get deeper with people. You just say what you really think.
Yeah.
You can also solidify your own point of view about things. I think because sometimes you say stuff because you're like that's the polite thing to say.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like I don't know if I believe that. So it'd be nice to sort of be able to say, but I've got this feeling.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. But I want to do it in a not provocative way.
I get you.
Or like an upsetting way, because some people do get upset.
That's the question in the sense of, do you think it's possible to be honest and not be provocative or not upset? Do you think that's actually possible?
No, because there's upsetting things in the world, and if you're going to mention them, then it's an inevitability. Yeah. But I would like to be braver to... I don't want to be provocative for no point. Yeah. I think that's just mean.
Yeah.
But I would like to... Yeah, I would like to be more honest with people. Because I think, I want to know more about the world and about people and stuff. I think that's a good way of getting there.
Yeah. And how do you feel in terms of the levels of being honest with yourself?
Well, this is another one. I really struggle with knowing whether I'm honest with myself or not. And then I was like, well, if I try and speak more upfrontly about what's going on in my head, maybe I can understand myself better.
Right.
So there's an element of that as well.
How would you say it's been going for you so far?
Well, I just tried this about an hour ago. So.
Yeah, because I was wondering, when exactly did you
start
this journey?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying this out with you. No,
catalyst for honesty.
Yes. No, well, I think it was... No, it is a more recent thing. Not like, I used to be very honest all the time, and I used to get in shit tons of trouble at school, and they thought I had autism. And then they decided I just was very direct and just didn't care about people's feelings.
Got you.
Which wasn't quite true. I was just genuinely curious, and I thought it was rude to not ask a question.
Yeah.
I thought it was patronizing if you're like, well, they couldn't handle this question
Fair,
because they're so weak-minded. So I used to just ask people stuff really up front.
Got you.
But then a lot of the reaction was negative. And then when I got to sort of 18, 19, I got tired of people having arguments with people that were unproductive.
Yeah.
So, but I think I'm now of a level of maturity that I can ask these questions with a better... I can go back to doing that, but not so pig-headedly or bullishly. I can be gentle with it.
Well, I think
so
it's
I get a more positive response.
Because it's all in the way you structure anything in terms of whether it's a question or the way you deliver any bit of information. Like, I think you can be honest, but it's always a case of how you convey what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's annoyed me though because I like direct. I like people being direct with me, and that's also why I often do enjoy the company of people with autism because they're much more like, it's this thing, and you're like, ooh, that's a bit pointed and kind of offensive the way you said that, but it's much more just matter of fact.
Yeah. Right,
and you're like, well, I like that, and I find the conversations then end up being quite insightful. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, I have to consider this thing very directly, and there's none of this like. Because sometimes being polite is actually bullshit, do you know what I mean? It's like, well, we're encouraging people to be repressed and being fearful of one another, and we're never going to make progress if you're too polite. I mean, there is the time and a place to be polite, of course.
I get you.
But it's, sometimes it's also like, ugh.
Yeah.
This is childish, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
It's silly.
It's, if you want to make progress and you want to understand people more, I think you have to kind of allow people to speak their mind and not have people living in a state of fear where they're like, oh, well, I can't say this or I can't say that. It has to be a case of be mindful of your words, be mindful of the impact they can have on other people, but you do also need to be able to say what you think and feel. Because that's the only way like honest conversation can happen. Yeah. And then that's the only way you can potentially get to not necessarily change people's points of view, but show them different angles.
With this, because I don't want to change people's view necessarily. I mean, if they do change their view, that's fine. But like, I want to know. Like, I don't know if what I think is right. Right. You know what I mean? So I want people to be like, I think that's bullshit, man. Or like, do you know what I mean? Like, I just want to know as much as I can. Yeah. And
that's fair.
Yeah. That's fair. And I think a little learning to do. You know.
We all do, man. Lastly, the advice that you said you would give to yourself. Yeah. Oh shit. Hold on. When did that stop?
System override. Overload.
You were ending her. I was unable to process it.
Too much truth, baby.
At the end of every podcast, I like to ask a question of whatever guest I have, right? And I think I'm going to change up the questions with every guest. Based on based on what? Based on the vibe that I get from them.
All right,
you know, I don't know. I just kind of popped into my head right now. I thought, I think I'll do that. So the question I'd like to ask you is, how do you think you're really gonna die?
Like, how I want to die, or how I actually think the most likely way I'll die will be.
All right, I tell you what. Give me how would you like to go? How do you really think you're gonna go?
All right. I mean I want to go in the classic die before my partner if I have a partner. Yeah. Peaceful and out of the blue. Okay. Something super quick, which I wouldn't be aware of. I don't want to be sick. That's my biggest fear. I don't ever want to be sick. Yeah. Being sick is long, and I don't want to feel like everyone's looking after me. So like an aneurysm or something like that would be great.
Okay, you've heard it. You heard it here first, folks.
And I'll just fucking force it. Like, I used to have a fantasy about killing myself at a certain age. Yeah. But then I'm like, everyone's going to be like, is there anything we could have done? And it'll just be annoying. So I'll just be like, no, this is just like, I'm doing this for you guys. And you can never really do that with suicide. What?
Yeah, no, you can't.
Well, no, because it's like Hunter S. Thompson. Do you know him?
The name sounds familiar, but
he did Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. He just told everyone, he's like, I think he was 65. He's like, I'm going to shoot myself just because I'm done with this. And did he? Yeah. Oh, wow. But I was like, that would be so much better.
What was your age then that you had in mind?
When I wanted to commit suicide. Yeah. I thought you meant when I read the book, I was like 14.
No. I'm like, wow. At least the time
I want
it
short and sweet. No. I don't know. Somewhere around 70. It depended on my condition. Whenever I started being like, okay, I'm starting to be a burden and long, just do it quick.
Got you.
But then also I was like, where do you buy a gun? What's the one that you know is going to work? In the UK, it's like, because in the UK, I always find it so funny, and they're like, oh, there was a shooting, we confiscated the gun, and it's like a fucking pipe, and you like blow the bullet through the other end, and you're like, how the fuck did he even kill someone with it? Or is like some old-timey fucking blunderbuss that they've stolen from a museum and reworked in like a fucking cowboy gun or something? I'm like, this is, man, I wish I lived in America. This could be a fucking Uzi.
No, honestly, the guns in the UK, they never, ever, ever look anything in like they don't look interesting at all. They don't look like technical or up to date.
They don't look functional.
Nah, they're terrible.
Yeah.
So that's how you would want to go. How do you really think it's gonna happen?
I mean, I am quite an anxious person. I think I'm gonna die of some sort of stress-related illness. What happens when you get well stressed? You get I don't know, like eczema. Can that kill you?
Oh no, I don't think so.
Scratch myself to death.
I think that would be a terrible way to go. Also,
I'll probably I'll probably do something like just be like, oh, I'm so worried. I'll definitely get cancer. I'll get dick cancer. I know this.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll get penis cancer.
How do you know this?
Because I fucked up my dick when I was a teenager, and I gave myself penis psoriasis.
Oh.
And that raises your chance of cancer loads, and I just reckon it will start in my penis.
You know what?
And I'll think it into reality, and that'll be a fitting way to die.
A fitting way?
Yes.
To be honest with you.
Die by the penis. Live by thy penis.
Your penis is featured very heavily in your eulogy.
Yes.
As well as your death.
I like to think it's featured a big part of my life.
Well, you know.
It is the giver of life, after all.
It's definitely, it helps it.
Yeah, and the taker of... No.
Oh, man.
Useless murder weapon.
Well, bearing in mind that you said that you feel as though anxiety and something stress related is going to be the cause of your demise.
Yes.
The advice that you gave to yourself to chill out.
Yeah, I want to be a chill bean.
You want to chill out more.
I want to chill out. I can be very chill. I have long periods of chill and then extreme anxiety for no reason.
Got ya.
And I mean, I detest people talking about their anxiety because it's irritating and it makes me feel anxious. So I'd like people to shut up, including myself. But that is probably the reality. Is, I don't know, I'll hypochondriac myself into penis cancer.
I have to end this podcast on a positive note. Because I don't think this actually did record, so I'm gonna ask it again.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have to end this podcast on a positive note. So give me one bit of advice that you would like to give yourself and really take on board moving forward in your life from this point forward.
Oh Jesus. Yeah, the chill out stuff. I want to chill. Stop being anxious about stuff. I'm a very fearful man.
Got ya.
Or boy, man boy. I mean, yes. No, I need to just enjoy. Because I enjoy life. It's good. Yeah. And also, you don't have to do anything with your life. You really don't. You don't even have to live it well. You can just it's a computer game, man. You can just do whatever you want.
A lot of pressure on this thing that we call life, but just find something that works for you.
Well, I think a lot of it's fake as well. It's just other people telling you what to do, and they don't know. Everyone's only done one life. No one's done multiple lives, so no one knows what's the best way to live your life.
Well, that's where it comes down to which
is mental. You should get a practice life.
Oh no, I mean, can you imagine if you did have a practice life? The first one, everyone would just do really fucked up shit.
Yeah, I'd behave how I behave in GTA 5, actually.
Like, no one would use the first life for anything. Everyone would be like, I could make this up on the second life.
Yeah.
You have to have one go at life, or else it's going to be proper anarchy.
Do you ever sometimes think maybe we do live multiple lives and you just forget?
No.
No?
No. I don't. Sorry, that conversation ends there. No, I've never believed in reincarnation or anything of that nature. I just think you're here, you get one go at it, and then when it's over, it's over.
Okay.
That's me anyway. joyful.
That's fine.
But,
yeah.
But I take it you think that they have this multiple life thing is a.
Oh, sometimes I hope that's the case.
Well, if you could, what would you want to come back as?
Myself.
Yeah, but like if you're living multiple lives, the chances.
Or you, but I'd really fuck your life up.
You don't know.
Just to fuck with you.
You don't know what my life is like.
You'll be
already.
like, Luke, what are you doing? I'm like, Roman, what are you doing with yourself, man?
I wouldn't be here to see it. I'll be gone.
No, you'll be me.
Oh no! Oh, then
Freaky Friday situation.
Well, then I'd live your life better.
That'd be the most punishing thing for me ever. Maybe that's what hell is.
Why are you being all structured and tidy? No.
Why are you being so calm?
Stop being nice to people. No. Oh man. No, Luke, honestly, man, I've enjoyed this, bro. Thank you so much for coming and dropping in and also being part of this this pod, man. And writing your eulogy.
Yeah, it's been a hoot. I'll give that to whoever's speaking at my funeral.
All right. Well, I mean, 165 years from now, I ain't gonna be here. But hey,
you might be.
Nah.
All right.
This recording might.
Yeah.
I'll be gone. You know what I mean? But nah, thanks a lot, bro.
A pleasure.
Appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you too.
Oh shit. Hold on. Is there anything you want to plug?
Yes, I have work in progress shows.
Talk about them.
Go to. They're all on my website, but my website is so far down on Google that you can't actually access it.
Yeah.
So you have to go on my Instagram, and then you can get on my website through there. It's in the. It's so sad. I'm never gonna make a career,
dude.
I don't know how to make it go up in the Google comments.
Like the fact that you have to send people to a place before they go to your website.
Go to my Instagram. Go to my Instagram. It's like a treasure trail.
All right, what's your Instagram?
Luke Chilton comedian. That will come up immediately.
Okay.
And then in there's a link to all my tickets for whip shows.
All right.
And then I'm going to Edinburgh later this year.
Oh, wicked.
At a venue that's not confirmed yet.
Okay.
But look, these shows are going to be so great, man.
I believe
these shows are going to be fucking hilarious.
I believe that. I came to the first one, I think. It was
you came to that.
Great stuff, man.
Bad show. You came to that bad show.
No.
But yeah, it was great. It was great. Let's let them believe that.
You got to do it, man. And the work in progresses, they're only going to get better. And Edinburgh, wicked. That's great to hear.
Yes, it's very exciting.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you up there.
Famous by the end.
I've been up for 3 times, and I doubt it's gonna happen.
All right. Well, fun to spend 10K for no reason anyway.
No. It will be a great time. It will be a great time. You'll learn a hell of a lot, mate. Trust me.
Thank you.
What is your website though?
It's LukeChiltonComedian.com.
Oh, why didn't you just say that?
It doesn't come up.
Wait, if you literally type in www.lukechiltoncomedian.com, it doesn't come up.
Yep, I don't know why.
Oh.
It's a problem.
Okay, so go to his Instagram.
If anyone can figure out why my website has been banned from the internet, that'd be very helpful to know.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Right,
there's also there's 2 other Luke Chiltons who are significantly more famous than me.
Yeah.
They both suck.
Oh wow!
But my website,
shots fired.
But I don't care. I'll take them on.
What are they both?
Both called Luke Chilton.
Got ya.
Yeah. And their websites are just ahead of mine.
Got ya.
Mm-hmm.
Well, dude, I'm sure someone can get to the bottom of it for you, but it ain't gonna be me.
That's fine. Yeah. Please let me know.
But listen, thanks again, man. And best of luck with the shows, bro.
Thanks, man.
I'm sure I'll see you on the circuit, man. You know
I'll
how it goes.
See you there. Yes.
Sweet.
Goodbye.
Dude. Thank you. Woo!
Exciting times.